One second, folks. Hello? I'm hearing some people saying that they can hear me and that we're live. That was weird. I'll give the chat a few minutes to catch up and see if they can hear me or what have you. I guess you guys can hear me. All right, that's good. That's good. I don't know what that was. I don't know why that was doing that, but it wouldn't be a newscast without technical difficulties. Anyways, you guys missed my energetic intro. You guys really missed it, so I don't feel like doing it again. But basically, welcome to the final newscast of 2019 and the final newscast of the 2010s, this decade, as we embark on a new decade. And man, has a lot of things changed in a span of this decade. Not just in terms of, well, life in general, but CAW. CAW has experienced its own golden era that's been throughout this decade. A lot of new leagues have come up from the ground up. A lot of leagues said their final goodbyes. A lot of highs and lows in between all of that. But at the end of the day, I can safely say that CAW, in my opinion, is in a good place. What was it? The first time, what was it? It's 2010. It was 2010, and I guess I was still on hiatus for my first hiatus, and I guess I was just coming back from Animania 2 and all that stuff for that season. And I can just tell you that it's completely changed from what it was now. I mean, what it was back then. Now you've got a lot of these leagues out here that are going to look to shape the next decade moving forward. You got a lot of leagues that have been there from the beginning, from the first golden era, mine included, that are still there trying to find new ways to innovate themselves and change with the times. You got other leagues that have said their final goodbyes, like I just stated. So it's going to be an interesting time in CAW for the 2020s and how that goes about. So, if you hear a little bit of background noise, that's just, I'm at my mom's house for the holiday season. So, a little bit hectic for this season, but nonetheless, I am here with you guys. I do want to apologize for a lot of you guys because I originally had this newscast planned for Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day, but I guess I got a little bit into the festivities, and I was like, I'll push it back till this weekend. So here I am on a Saturday evening, my time, just shooting the shit with you guys. So I would like to thank everybody for joining me here for this newscast. It's greatly appreciated. It's greatly commended. Yeah. So today we're just gonna be shooting the shit, and I know a lot of you guys have some questions that you want to ask me as we close out this decade, as we close out this year. It can be anything from CAW, ACW, wrestling, anything really that I'll answer. For those, by the way, I do want to make sure, can you guys hear me clearly here? If you can, it's because it's very crisp. I actually got a new microphone, believe it or not. I went Christmas shopping for myself earlier this week, and I said, you know what? I bet you I need to start getting certain things. So I didn't get anything too big. I just went, got a couple of clothes for myself. I like to look stylish, and then got some computer stuff. Being a new microphone being one of those things, I actually got myself a Yeti microphone. I've heard about it, and I just wanted to make sure if this is a microphone that I could really use to where I won't regret it. But I got a warranty on it, so it won't be really much of a big deal. So if it doesn't fully do what I need it to do, then I guess I can just return it back or whatever. But it seems like it sounds good for all of you guys there, so we're on a good start. We're on a good pathway here. I do want to thank D-Wall. I do want to thank D-Wall and Jason Brown and a lot of others from the Discord that actually helped me out picking out a new microphone. I was actually at Target shopping, and I was like, I saw all these microphones. I saw Turtle Beach, obviously Logitech, Yeti. I saw the Blue Snowball, which I've heard always mixed reactions about. So I was kind of confused. I wanted to get a microphone that could really fit to what I want to do for the newscast, and not only that, but obviously with ACW commentary. So after deliberation, I was able to get a Yeti microphone. It did cost a lot, especially on top of a warranty on it, but I think it'll be a worthwhile investment heading into the new season because I have a lot of things I want to do with this new season. Speaking of which, as we segue into that, I want to give you guys a few updates on Anime Championship Wrestling. So, a lot of things that I want to just talk about with ACW before I get to your questions and comments on the chat. By the way, if you do want to show a little small donation to your boy, if you want to help him out with his non-profit organization, but it's a for-profit organization, just to kind of, stuff like this to help out with the newscast and other things with ACW. You can donate to the newscast by going to streamlabs.com/theanimecw to donate, and I'll establish it for future newscasts. We will be having super chats on the chat room. It's funny because I have said my piece about YouTube as of late, but months prior I applied for the monetization program, and I guess I got approved 2 weeks ago. So if you're seeing advertisements on ACW videos this point forward, that's why, because I applied for the monetization program and it went through. So I will be getting, it won't be a lot obviously, but it'll be enough. I get not enough even, but it's going to be like a small pocket change basically for the revenue that I'm going to try to put out there. But be that as I may, anyway, let's get to some ACW news. So first things first, I want to talk about the Elite Tournament. I know the Elite Tournament has kind of stalled. We just completed the first round. Everybody knows the 8 with that. So now we have to get to the quarterfinals portion of it. I can tell you right now that starting not next week, but the week following is when the ACW Elite Tournament will conclude. Not just the quarterfinals, but the semifinals and the finals as well. All the matches have been done and put together. I just need to commentate on the ones that I need to commentate on, and they'll be up for viewability within like 2 weeks or a week and a half, around that ballpark. But we will finish the Elite Tournament fairly soon. Also, as you guys saw with the graphics, we will be having ACW Fusion. That's going to be happening on February of 2020, so that's about 2 months from now. I can tell you right now that I am working on Fusion as we speak. I'm actually working on the Impulse side of Fusion, which is going to be fun, as much as the XL side is going to be fun. But I am starting on the Impulse side of things. I'm putting it together. It's going pretty well. And then afterwards, I'm going to have to put together the XL portion of Fusion. And by the time we get to Fusion, it'll be ready as a full mega event. And I plan to make it the biggest Fusion mega event that I've done with ACW. And you'll see why as we get closer to that date. But expect Fusion, hopefully, tentatively scheduled for February of 2020. As always, obviously, I see Jason Brown over there as well with UWL Voltage and UWL Rush. We will also start getting the workings within UWL Next Level Brooklyn, which will be airing the day before ACW Direct's version of Fusion. It'll be an ACW Fusion week. We'll give you all the details about that as we get closer to that week. But we will start the ball rolling once again for Fusion Week, Fusion in general, UWL Next Level, and a lot of other stuff heading into the new season. Obviously, also, we're going to be celebrating the 100th episode of Excel this season. As a matter of fact, we're going to be celebrating it on the second episode of the new season. So basically, the episode after the season premiere of Excel is where it'll be Excel 100. I have a couple of surprises for that event as well. It'll probably be a long Excel episode like the Impulse 100 episode was. So a lot of surprises for a lot of old school ACW fans. You'll enjoy certain Easter eggs coming out of the woodwork for many years past. But other than that, I will also have an ACW mega event schedule. I'm not gonna try to give you like exact dates because obviously it's been a bitch to uphold them, and with work and other outside projects that I'm doing, I probably won't be able to keep those promises of giving you guys those set dates of events. So I'll just give you like a month, and hopefully it'll be released within that month. But I will give you guys a mega event schedule soon. I don't want to promise you really too much, but you will get one soon. I promise you that. Also, at the end of this newscast, I have a special surprise for some of you guys. A little surprise. I have a little surprise for you guys. Excuse me. Sorry for muting my mic there. I had a little cough there. But I have a little surprise for you guys at the end of the newscast. A little bit of a teaser, if you will, something. But I will leave it at that until we get there. Any other newscast updates? ACW updates. I also will let you guys know as well that we will be doing this season of ACW with WWE 2K19. There is no way I'm going to be dropping any money at all for WWE 2K20. It's been, from what I've seen with the videos, the commentary, and just certain Let's Plays, it is an unmitigated mess. It is a disaster. A lot of buggy errors and mistakes that it seems like a lot of people didn't check on 2K20 and just said, you know what, screw it, they're going to buy it anyways. Let's just get it through so we can get it out for the holiday season. And as you can see there, it's been critically panned, as it should be. And I believe when I went to Target to buy my Christmas shopping, the price there was like half than it originally was. It was around like $30. So it was already half off by like this week, which it usually isn't, but it is because of how poorly received it has been. So I won't be switching to 2K20. Quite frankly, honestly, and I know as, you know, CAW creators and owners and what have you, and what we do, that we kind of have to switch yearly from, you know, the 2K model and all that stuff. But I think also, and I understand why we can't always do it, you know, with just one game at a time, because, you know, WWE 2K servers shut off like months prior before the next game release. But I think the only way 2K can make things right, and I did say this on the previous newscast, but the way to make this right is to extend 2K19 all the way to at least October for the next game. But as I'm hearing rumors that 2K21 may not even be a complete game by the time that it gets there, I know that a lot of the developers and employees at 2K and what's that? What is that? Not Ukes, but what is the name of that? Creative Visions or something like that. They've already been either let go or have quit because of the 2K20 disaster. And the budget has been cut somewhat significantly for 2K21 next year. So we may not get a proper, real good WWE game from 2K for a while, which is pretty scary for a lot of CAW owners. That means we're going to have to rely on 2K19. But by the time we get to 2K21, the 2K19 servers will be probably cut off or shut off. Yes, Visual Concepts. Thank you very much, New Dawn. But yeah, so a little bit worrisome. This is why it's a good thing. Hopefully there's an alternative video game series. Hopefully somebody picks up Ukes or Aki again to give you guys something. I know there's a lot of people that will probably switch to Fire Pro. I know Joseph Matos, the commentator and owner of SCA, is pretty much down that path. Hopefully some other wrestling promotions can give us something of an alternative, like AEW or New Japan or something other than WWE, because they're the only game in town. It's kind of like NBA 2K. A lot of people don't like the microtransactions and the ads during gameplay and all that stuff, but it's the only game really that's giving you that. What you're going to do, get NBA Live? No one buys NBA Live. So that's kind of the situation we're at. But be that as that may, I would suggest that everybody, if you're going to stick with 2K19, get all of your logos, get all of your graphics, get everything that you need loaded up to the servers now. because it's probably not a guarantee that 2K will extend the servers beyond May of next year. So you're going to have to get everything in right now and work with that for at least a season or two. That's kind of the mindset I got to go with ACW. I got to plan not just a season ahead, but 2 seasons ahead if I'm going to stick with 2K19 for at least 2 seasons. That's kind of where we're going to have to be at here. So, yeah. So I'll be sticking with 2K19. I'm not going to switch to 2K20. I would advise 2K to compromise, because you screwed up here. You screwed the consumers. You screwed your paying customers with this game. The least you can do to make things right, or somewhat right, is to extend the 2K19 servers all the way to October, and then hopefully 2K21 is a better upgrade than 2K20, but even that is doubtful at this very moment. So we'll see what direction 2K goes for next year, but that is the update on that. Animania 6, as you guys saw the commercial, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, but absolutely, positively, Animania 6 will be in Atlanta, the ATL. It'll be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, or arena, whatever. But that's where it's going to be for the season finale of next season. ACW Animania 6 will be in Atlanta, Georgia. And that will be hopefully a way to, again, raise the bar with Animania, because, Animania 5, I'm still getting rave reviews out there. If you haven't realized, I've been posting clips of Animania 5 on the main channel and on our social media accounts. So, I still get a lot of word and a lot of, praise and comments from Animania 5, and I do appreciate everyone that joined me for the live stream of that, and I've watched Animania 5 up until now. I really do appreciate it. There was a lot of work being put into it. And me, I like to always step my game up just a tad level higher. So hopefully Animania 6 overlaps what even I did with Animania 5, which I hopefully think it will. So, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it at the end of the day. But I think that is all the ACW episodes. Well, those are coming, but I think that's all the ACW updates I have. Oh, yeah, and by the way, ACW does have a BitChute account. That's bitchute.com/theanimecw. We are going to start uploading exclusive content and other content that may not be usable for YouTube. We're going to start uploading them on BitChute. That means old matches, old pay-per-views, exclusive content, that's where all the ACW webisodes are going to be from this point forward. That's where you can find all the theme songs for your favorite ACW superstars and mega events. That's where it's going to all be. You're going to see a lot of dedication to the BitChute account, because especially with the way YouTube is running things going forward, I do advise a lot of CAW creators and artists, and not just CAW creators and artists, but people in general that have used YouTube as an avenue or a venue for themselves. I would advise them to start getting some alternative ways to put their content out there, basically. So, yeah, I think that's all the ACW updates that I have. If anything else pops up during this newscast, I'll let you guys know. Or if you have a question about ACW during the Q&A session, which we will get to right now, that is also appreciated as well. So, speaking of which, we are going to get to the Q&A portion of the newscast. We're basically going to shoot the shit. It's the final newscast of 2019. It's the final newscast of this decade. Let's ask all the questions we've got available. I know that there's a lot of things out there right now at the moment that I know a lot of you guys want to ask. It can be about ACW, CAW, wrestling, music, sports, movies, politics, life, whatever. I don't really care. We're just going to... I'm talking to you, the viewer, the fan. We're just going to talk and just have fun and just chill. So I have time to kill, so I'll let the chat catch up here and ask whatever questions that they want to ask or what have you. But I'll just read some comments here. Let's see. Bushy Road and Ukes can work together to make a New Japan game. That's very possible. Although I think AEW was talking about... No, well, they were talking about Aki more so than Ukes. So who knows? All right, we got some questions coming in here, so let's get the ball rolling here, huh? Let's see here. Have you ever tried a little bit of the bubbly? Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta do this right? A little bit of the bubbly from Le Champion Chris Jericho. I have not tried that champagne, that little bubbly thing that he was putting out there. Not to say I wouldn't try it out. I just haven't tried it out. So, but then again, I did try E40, who's a well-known rapper, especially out here in California. But I did try his champagne, and I love E40 water, but not good. Not good. Not good. Let's see here. In your opinion, do you think Call Wrestling will be up there with or even surpass real life wrestling? That's from Spooky Pie, and Fluke Dog was the one that asked the Jericho question prior to that. Do I think CW wrestling will be up there or with or even surpass real life wrestling? Well, they're two different mediums. And I remember that I one time talked about this on a newscast years ago, and I remember there was a certain group of CAW folks try to shit on that said opinion. You can probably speculate who I'm talking about, but that certain group of people were trying to say, oh, well, CAW can never surpass pro wrestling, which was never my argument. My argument was being that with pro wrestling on the decline, other people that were fans or are lapsed fans of wrestling, pro wrestling, are going to find other avenues that, although relate to wrestling, are different from what, say, a WWE or TNA at the time were giving them. And CAW, and I will defend this and I will keep saying it until I lose breath, CAW to me is an alternative to pro wrestling in the sense that people want to be entertained. It's not to equate pro wrestling to CAW. I've never, ever said that. And that certain group that tried to twist my words, well, I'm still here and they're irrelevant now. So I guess karma's a bitch. But nonetheless, what I was trying to get at there was that, you know, CAW is a vehicle. It is a certain part of entertainment to where a lot of people can enjoy an avenue of that type of entertainment, that type of wrestling. And a lot of stuff gets put into that. A lot of time, effort, energy, and dedication gets put into CAW. I despise this notion that people think that when we do CAW or virtual wrestling or whatever the hell you want to call it, that we have nothing better to do. It takes a lot of work to put together CAW. And I think now more than ever, CAW has become its own vehicle to where now there's a lot of people that wants to join in on the fun. I will say this for sure and truly that WWE, when they joined 2K, they understood that CAW was starting to become a thriving sort of environment for the wrestling fan, and so they centered their whole CAW creation section around CAW. I'll defend that. I will defend that. I think people that try to dismiss CAW, especially in 2019 going to 2020 in a new decade, I think they're missing out, and I think they truly don't understand why we do this and why I still do this. You got to understand, I was doing this since I was a freshman in high school. I was doing this in 2006, okay? And I used it as a way to escape a lot of things from me personally and just to find a community that would accept me for my creativity and for who I truly am. And I did find that in CAW. And here I am now. I'm 28 years old, and I still enjoyed CAW, and I enjoy that it's become a thriving environment to where people can just be creative, just to have variety amongst that community, when it wasn't so much the case when I was getting started in CAW. So I would just advise a lot of people that want to shit on CAW, just understand what goes into that a lot of the times, and understand that it's going to be something that a lot of people continue to be involved in. As long as people are creative, CAW is never going to die soon. By the way, if you guys post any questions on this chat and I don't get to it, just keep posting it on the chat, and I'll eventually see it and read it and answer it. So it's not just ignoring you, it's just I'm trying to get through as many questions as I can. Let's see here. VPOC, did you get my message on Facebook? Hakeem, the offer still on the table for it? I have not gotten your message. I don't even know what message you sent me, but I will check it out after this newscast and reply to you accordingly. So, let's see here. New Dawn Pro, JR on commentary. What happened opinions, Hakeem, on AEW commentary. My opinions on it is that okay. Here's my thing. I think Excalibur is good at what he does. I think there are things that he misses here and there, but ultimately, overall, I think he's good at what he does. That little modern Mike Tenay spot that he does, I think that's good for him. Tony Schiavone, I like his enthusiasm. He looks like he wants to be there. It's really reinvigorated himself into the wrestling business when, shoot, at the start of this decade, Tony Schiavone wanted nothing to do with pro wrestling, and now here at the end of the decade, back on TNT, doing a wrestling program, doing commentary. So it's pretty cool in that sense. But JR, look, JR is a legend. No one's going to deny that. One of the best lead commentators of his era, no, of all time, personally. My thing with JR is that he's very hit or miss. Like, there's certain points where he can really be good. He still can be that Jim Ross that you know all well and good. He's that kind of guy that he can really put over an angle. He can put over a character. He can put over a match the best that he can. He still can do that. But then there are other times where he completely undermines the commentary. He completely undermines the matches. He completely undermines the characters. He feels like he doesn't know where he's at. He feels like he doesn't want to be there at times. And you can only make so many mistakes in that until where it's like you got to ask yourself, well, why are we still paying this guy the amount that we're paying him? Why is he still being lead for commentary if he's not going to put in the effort that we expect from him? Now, and I'll get into it, and probably someone will ask down the road later in this newscast, but a lot of people have really blown out of proportion AEW's faults and mistakes. You got to understand, they just started this year, okay? It's not like TNA where when they got them to Spike TV, I believe around 2007, 2008. Wait, hold on. Sorry about that. I had to take care of some things there. But anyways, back to my point. You got to understand with AEW, when TNA got on to Spike TV, I believe in 2006, 2007, they have been existing as a promotion 3 or 4 years prior than that. AEW just started January of this year and got onto network television on TNT in October of this year. That's like 2 months ago. People forget. So, of course, it's going to be growing pains. And I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because, quite frankly, as many mistakes and mishaps that AEW has clearly had, I will at least acknowledge AEW's effort in the sense that they will listen to their audience and they will fix or at least readjust what their audience would like to see better. So when people come at me saying, well, why don't you give the same energy to WWE? Because WWE for years and decades have been insulting their audience, have been insulting their paying customers every single time with the expectation is, well, we're the only game in town. You're going to pay for our product. You're going to buy our merchandise. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Screw you. So now that AEW is now looking to be a viable alternative, a actual national promotion that can be of equal sense to WWE in certain respects, now it's a problem. Now AEW is doing this wrong. I've seen it throughout this entire week. People just nitpicking to the minuscule parts of AEW and trying to say, well, this is going to be where everything ends. This is going to be like kills AEW and yada, yada, yada. It's just like everyone needs to pump the brakes, okay? 5 years down the line, if the elites start insulting their audience, if they start giving you crappy storylines that you don't want, if they start telling you that you're going to like the shit and eat it and like the taste of it and all that stuff, and that's all well and good. I'll be right by your side telling them that AEW is trash and AEW needs to fix things or else they're going to end up like TNA. I'm with you. But it's not now. And it's not probably anytime soon. These people care. At least to their paying customers, they care. And I have to give them credit. Because I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and accept a monopolization of the WWE, because that's what they're doing. And a lot of you people that don't see this coming, a lot of people that don't see the forest from the trees here with WWE and the current plans of how they want to monopolize pro wrestling. You guys are picking at AEW from every direction. I'm not saying that AEW can't be criticized. Yes, they can. I've done it. Of course, AEW can be criticized to make it better. But I'm just seeing things to where you guys are being spiteful or even hateful, insulting wrestlers, chasing them out of Twitter, trying to take clips out of context, trying to find every minuscule thing to make it seem like they don't know what they're doing. We see the agenda that you're trying to put forth. There's a difference between WWE fans and WWE drones. WWE fans will at least be reasonable to say, I'm not really a fan of AEW, and here's why. They can do things better here and there, yada, yada, yada. Cool, we can have the discussion. You WWE drones, at the end of the day, you guys don't want another promotion of equal stature. You people don't want other promotions being successful. All you know is WWE, and the mentality that WWE has force-fed you, not just for years, but for decades. And it's that kind of brainwashed mentality, that kind of mindset from a lot of drones that makes me sick. Because I'm a wrestling fan, first and foremost. I have no allegiance to a wrestling company. If I see good things with wrestling, I will give it credit. If I see things that I think are shit, I'm going to criticize it, and I'm going to tell you why it's shit. That's just the way I am. I am a wrestling fan, first and foremost. Not a company mark or company shill or company stand. Okay? There are many things that AEW does wrong that I'm not a fan of, and there are many things WWE, in their product at least, that have done right that I actually kind of like, okay? It's just all about consistency and seeing things with two eyes instead of one. So, with AEW, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. TNT is happy with them. They're happy with what they've been able to produce. The talent is there, and I'm sure more talent is going to be available for AEW down the road next year, obviously. They'll be fine. Again, it's growing pains. They'll find their groove, and they'll be fine. And that's just the reality of it. A lot of people that are being impatient, you need to grow the fuck up, quite frankly. This company, once again, as long as they are providing a quality, entertaining show for most weeks of the year, and do it to where they're not insulting their audience or to where they're not taking advantage of their audience, AEW is going to be fine. Period. Okay, so let me... that was a long little rant there, but I kind of need to say it. But Ray Bustab, what are your thoughts on AEW's declining viewership? I think it's just a testament to the current climate of the wrestling fan base in general. We all knew that, and I was saying it in January when I was more critical of AEW, but I was saying it then, and I'm going to say here now that the wrestling fan base has shrunk. It's really only the hardcore audience that are keeping this business afloat. Maybe a couple of quote-unquote casuals, but all they know is WWE. Other than that, it's really the hardcore fans that are going to spend money every week or every month on wrestling that are keeping this business afloat. That's not to say that wrestling is dying in a sense, like, for hardcore fans, but in terms of the overall spectrum, in terms of the mainstream appeal of wrestling, it's declining. I mean, Raw and SmackDown continue to draw some low record ratings for themselves. I believe Raw this past week, now granted it was a Christmas edition episode, but it's still no excuse. All of their hours went below 2 million viewers, and overall average below 2 million. SmackDown, I think it came out that they went down a bit, and they're still within the 2.5 range, which is a far cry from what Fox projected. And obviously AEW and NXT are fighting for that fan base on Wednesday. That is small pie, small potatoes. Now, I do agree that the AEW honeymoon period has pretty much ended at this point. Now AEW has to do things to improve themselves to where they got to earn those people back to make it to where they want to be able to come back and watch this live. So that's up to AEW. So those are my thoughts. I think it's just a indictment of wrestling fans today and how small and how just uncool it is as a wrestling fan to be. And that's just the reality of it. Let's see here. UWL Voltage, Jason, my boy, asked me, would Ukes be smart to use the 19 engine for the first AEW game? You know what I would like? You know what my ideal... I think I've said this before, but my ideal wrestling game would be modern day graphics, a No Mercy storyline mode where they had branching stories, a SmackDown versus Raw like 07 or 08 gameplay engine, and like the 2K19 graphics. I think if you can combine all those together. Oh, and Day of Reckoning, CPU or AI engine controls. If you combine all those together, I think it would get the perfect ideal game to me. And I think if Ukes was willing to be dedicated to putting out a game that can rival 2K with WWE, I think you should go for it. And again, AEW has been talking about putting out a video game. I know Kenny and the Bucks have been talking about that. If they really are serious about it, I think you should go for it. I think a lot of people would be interested, especially right now in the current state with WWE's video game debacle. I think AEW has a strong chance to put out something that can rival that. And if it's better than 2K20, you might be onto something. All right, let's see here. You guys have asked a lot of questions here. I'm going to see if I can get these as quick as possible here. Raiden682, so when is that death match between you and Sean Ross Sapp? Oh, my God. Well, Sean's got to not be a pussy first. Until then, nothing's happening. But, yeah, for those that didn't know, this week, I guess New Japan announced that there's going to be a Stardom match, has a dark match for Wrestle Kingdom next year. And so I wake up and I see my mention. I see Sean Ross Sapp bringing up an old tweet where he got dragged the fuck out by me and other people on Twitter for his lack of Joshi knowledge and respect for Joshi culture, and try to say as if, Joshi culture, Joshi coverage doesn't draw enough money, so I'm not going to cover it as strong as I would. How about you fucking put your money where your mouth is and cover it, you fucking shill? So Sean Ross Sapp just pretty much tweeted at me, ha 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 ha, like he got me. Like, oh, you see, New Japan put a women's match on Wrestle Kingdom. Ha ha, you were wrong. Although my entire point and your entire original point was you wanted a women's division in New Japan. You weren't asking for just a match. You and all your other sycophants that roam around wrestling Twitter and make it a miserable, toxic place. You guys were bitching and crying at last year, at this time around last year, you were all crying about how, New Japan needs to be more progressive. They need to be more forward-thinking and put a women's division for New Japan, even though women's wrestling in Japan has been a staple for how many decades? Long before you or even I was born, okay? It's called Joshi for a reason. And they've established a culture to where they have their own fan base, their own merchandise, their own revenue. So, of course, because you are and I'm going to say you're a white Westerner, you, of course, ignore that, and you ignore the strides of progress that minorities make, and you try to twist it for your own sycophant reasons. So Sean Ross Sapp, to me, is a fake. He's a shill. I don't give a damn how many people like him. The fact of the matter is that Sean Ross Sapp is a clear example of people who don't really care about the advancement of women's wrestling, especially in Japan. They just care about being right. And even then, he was wrong. Even then, he was wrong. And even then, the Stardom match is going to be a dark match. So what does it ultimately matter? And by the way, stupid, it was Stardom's movement after Kyrie and Io got signed away. It was Stardom readjusting with the likes of Tam, with the likes of Starlight Kid, they're getting Riho. The fact that they had to push Mayu as a big star. And even the Western Gaijins like Tony Storm and Bea Priestley. It was all that stuff combined. Kagetsu and Hana Kimura, all those guys being put together to continue to move Stardom forward. Not to mention other things like Seed Lining and Tokyo Joshi that have really made strides this past year. Okay, Sendai Girls, even though it's going to be basically a farm system for WWE by next year anyways. I see what you did there, Mako. But nonetheless, all these strides that Joshi has made this past year, or 2 years really, and you don't see that. You just saw with the fact that I'm right, you're wrong. So not only are you stupid, you're still wrong. So good job. So thank you for proving me right, Sean Ross Sapp. You really make your last name very appropriate for someone as whipped as you. Get the fuck out of my face and sit the fuck down. Thank you. And I said it to you, and I tweeted this to you last time this year. I'm going to say it to you right here again. Next time, check your fire next time, bitch. Okay. DCoker97, thoughts on the current state of Ring of Honor? Yeah, Ring of Honor, man. It's, you know, I have never seen a strong fall from grace from a promotion in recent memory than Ring of Honor. And I saw TNA back in 2015, and that was a strong fall from grace. Like, work with me here. I just want you to just kind of walk with me with this, right? Start of the year. Ring of Honor, they have the Elite, they have the New Japan partnership. They're about to start to debut in MSG with that supercard with New Japan. They had the argument of being the number 2 promotion in wrestling behind WWE because AEW had just started. It had no legacy or history behind it yet. TNA, even though it was recovering, and it still is recovering to great success, by the way, but it was going to take them a while. You know? Sorry about that. It's a fucking chaos in this house, I swear to God. Anyways, back to my point. Basically, my point was that TNA was still recovering. AEW had just started this year. MLW wasn't picking up steam at that point. Lucha Underground was dead. It was really Ring of Honor, to be quite fair. So we head to the Supercard, the G1 Supercard in MSG. New Japan delivers in their own side. And Ring of Honor basically shits the bed with a poorly received Enzo and Cassworks shoot, Bully Ray's booking and the way he was put together, Matt Taven winning the goddamn ROH World title. And quite frankly, ever since that event, ever since Ring of Honor with that portion of the G1 Supercard, it has been downhill aplenty. Record low attendances. The television show is basically a irrelevant piece of media for them. The Honor Club is basically just there for, nostalgia purposes. They haven't even put up the good nostalgia from Ring of Honor on the Honor Club yet. Ring of Honor talent going to either WWE or AEW. Joey Mercury was fired, and he was letting off a lot of secretive stuff that was going on about 2 months ago about Ring of Honor. Kelly Klein, the women's champion, was fired while she was severely concussed. Delirious as Booker, Greg Gillibrand, and Joe Koff as executives, pretty much not having the best interest for the company. They're just basically keeping Ring of Honor afloat as cheap property for Sinclair. It's just not good. And quite frankly, if Ring of Honor continues to go at this rate, I don't see Ring of Honor surviving this upcoming decade. The New Japan deal is pretty much about to finish. If it's not finished now, it's going to be finished sometime soon. New Japan was touring around the northeastern side of the U.S. without Ring of Honor. That's usually Honor Rising shows. New Japan was touring in the U.S. without Ring of Honor, without any talent or without any partnership. There hasn't been any Ring of Honor representation since the G1 with Jeff Cobb. And Jeff Cobb has a deal with New Japan anyways. It's not looking good. I don't know who said it on the newscast that I did after Animania 5. Because I remember there was a lot of people on that newscast that we were just talking about Ring of Honor. I don't know who said it, but they were spot on. They said something to the sounds of, Ring of Honor will be the last person on the totem pole by the end of this decade. And I cannot believe, as we're going into 2020, that Ring of Honor, to me, is at the bottom of that totem pole. I can't see anyone arguing otherwise. Excuse me. I can't see anyone arguing otherwise. I mean, WWE is who they are. AEW quickly became number 2. Impact Wrestling has become more and more prominent from the restart from their failures of years. MLW is getting steam. NWA is getting steam. New Japan is going to start doing their own U.S. side of things with their U.S. Property. ROH is going to be probably the bastard stepchild here. They're going to be the last ones out. And they have no one to blame but themselves. At the end of the day, they relied too much on the Bullet Club and on the Elite and on New Japan so much. They relied on them so much that they weren't properly and effectively building their own stars. That's how Matt Taven as world champion happens. I'm sorry, but Matt Taven to me is not a Ring of Honor world champion type of guy. I mean, I grew up on the era of Samoa Joe and Morishima and Bryan Danielson and CM Punk and Nigel McGuinness and all those guys. I grew up that era. Those were, to me, what proper Ring of Honor champions were. When you bring up someone like Matt Taven, he doesn't, to me, fit anywhere near that legacy of Ring of Honor world champions. And just when they were slightly starting to get it, when they had Rush defeat Matt Taven and win the title, Rush loses at his first title defense to a 54-year-old PCO at their quote-unquote biggest show of the year final battle. And I don't want to hear it because I know people are going to try to bring up Jericho with AEW. The fact of the matter is, Chris Jericho is a legitimate all-time, greatest of all-time legend. Okay? He spans 3 decades. Okay? He was a part of WCW, he was a part of ECW, he was part of the WWF and WWE, and now he was part of New Japan, and now he's a part of AEW. He is the franchise of AEW, not just the champion, but the franchise of AEW. He's done more for the business than PCO, who, granted, he had his renaissance, he had his resurgence in recent years, but the fact of the matter is that PCO doesn't have the intangibles, or at least much intangibles, compared to a Chris fucking Jericho. Sometimes there is a good type of veteran that can help a company like AEW and Jericho. And then there's just a simple veteran that is of mid-card level like PCO that's only being given the title through loyalty. And that's just a fact. You know, and the fact of the matter is ROH could have really given that title to, Marty Scurll. You know, the Elite and the Bullet Club guys were leaving. It would have been a good way to keep some of those Bullet Club fans, those Elite fans, somewhat into Ring of Honor if he had given it to Marty Scurll. Fuck it. And then you hear by the leaks that, we were afraid that Marty was going to leave. Well, fucking Matt Taven was about to leave too, and he was the world champion. If he didn't resign, that would mean your ROH world champion was going to be a free agent. So what did that ultimately matter? So, who knows? Right now, ROH is in a bad place, and if they don't fix things, this upcoming decade could be their final decade. Now, I know people said the same thing about TNA and them dying as well. And look, I don't wish for any company to die. I don't wish for any company to go out of business. Because I would like the industry to survive for many people, the boys and the girls that work there. But it is what it is. And Ring of Honor needs to fix things, and fix things quickly. Or else it's over for them. Or else there will be no Ring of Honor. You'll see it on the WWE Network for $9.99 or $14.99 if they're going to go tier soon. So that is what it is. And it's only up to them that they can fix their own destiny. Let's see here. All-Star Colleague. I'm sure that's Jamie Ulrich. But be truthful to us, Hakeem. How crunk did you get on Christmas? Yeah, I got pretty crunk. I gotta be honest with you. Sipping on that red wine, drinking a little bit of Crown, eating some good food, shooting the shit with my family, some of my brothers and all that. It was a good Christmas. I had a really fun Christmas. One of my favorite Christmases this year that I had in recent memory. Granted, that's probably because for the first time in a while that I'm not doing retail. I'm not doing retail for once this Christmas season. Because, like, what would happen is that I would be on retail, and, like, the last week of October, it would be Christmas time, apparently, to where I would get sick of the people, I would get sick of the Christmas music, I would get sick of the whole Christmas aesthetics. By the time we get to Christmas, I'll be like, fuck off, I don't care anymore. But this year, it was a bit different, so I enjoyed it very much so. But, thank you for asking. I hope all of you guys had a great Christmas as well. Clipton, who do you think is going to be in Super Bowl 53? Fuck. Been kind of on and off with football this season, but I would say for the NFC, probably either the Niners or the Saints. AFC, I'd probably have to go with the Patriots or the Ravens. I'll just go with that. Let's see. Fluke dug away. Cora will defend her ACL Linus Championship against Sakura Hagiwara in MSG this Wednesday. Who you got? To be fair, I haven't really been keeping up too much with CAW because I've been working a lot. And I've been doing other outside projects and just been doing other things other than CAW. I'm just now coming back to it, putting together my season and trying to catch up on other things. But Cora Sakura at MSG. I mean, I know the safe bet is Sakura because of who she is and what she's accomplished, but I have been aware that Cora's had one hell of a year this year. And I think she'll be the one to have an even greater 2020 going into next year. So I'm going to just go with Cora retaining the title. Two women, by the way, that were a part of the Element tournament last year. So I know very well how those two can really go at each other. It's going to be a fun match, I'm sure. Yeah. Charles Roberts, what do you think of? What do you think of the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt feud? It's whatever. It's leave it to WWE to take something that was entertaining and very interesting and completely overdo it to the point where it's no longer entertaining and interesting. That's what they've done with that's what they've done with Bray Wyatt, and quite frankly, that's what they've done with Daniel Bryan too. You know, I've criticized this company a lot this year, and quite frankly, most of it is deserved. I don't give a damn what anyone says. If you want to be a shill about it, be a shill for it. But I think, to me, 2019 is one of the worst years creatively that WWE has ever had, to me, period. I think WWE as a creative this year has been utter trash. It's been mediocre. It's been half-assed. It's been lazy. The only reason why they're still going and keep going is because of the TV deals and Saudi Arabia deals. Otherwise, it'd be a completely different situation. And by the way, you know, the XFL's coming up in February, and there's like no buzz, no excitement, no promotion for it. So they might even fail worse than their first time. So keep that in mind. But that said, you know, I was very intrigued and entertained with the Bray Wyatt character this year. I think Bray Wyatt is somebody that likes to reinvent themselves when he shouldn't have had to, with how much they screwed him up the first time around, when they had a silver plate of a money gimmick and a money angle in Bray Wyatt, and of course they throw it away because this company doesn't know how to make stars. You know, a lot of people want to bitch about AEW and how they're trying to make Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy and Joey Janela and Luchasaurus, but at least they're trying. At least they're attempting to make stars that they can use for the long term. At least that's what they're doing. You know, they've done it with Scorpio Sky and Phoenix and MJF, let alone the likes of Jon Moxley and Cody. At least they're going to try to do that. You can't even say that with WWE. I saw a clip last night, because Lord knows I don't watch SmackDown Live at all, if at all. I'm seeing a clip of Braun Strowman dancing now. I don't give a fuck if it was for entertaining the live audience and the live crowd. At the end of the day, this man was the complete destructor. The man was the monster, the guy that was going to destroy Brock Lesnar and become the Universal Champion. He doesn't get it done. He gets bitched out by Brock Lesnar every encounter they have, and then he's been on a plateau of doing nothing, and now here he is dancing. So when people say that he's the new Big Show, yeah, I kind of have to agree with that. This company doesn't know how to make stars. This company refuses almost to make stars. And that's what I kind of see here with Bray Wyatt. It seems like they're just kind of spinning their wheels with Bray Wyatt. They're just pretty much just letting him do what they have him to do because he's a champion. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't mean anything because you know it's not going to mean anything. And Daniel Bryan, again, the man was a money-making star back in 2013, 2014 with the Yes Movement. So, of course, they just try to strip him of everything that made him interesting and made him intriguing to the audience. So WWE today, this company does not know how to make stars, let alone to make a feud. So I have no reason to care. It is what it is. Blood 5.031, what are your thoughts on Bushiroad purchasing Stardom? It's been mixed. I think in terms of oversight and for future purposes and to expand the company, I think it's a good thing for Stardom that Bushiroad stepped in and buy them. They're clearly going to use it to try to appeal to a wider audience and try to garner themselves a more female-centric audience, which is fine. The thing about it, though, is that, as people have heard, Hazuki has retired now. Kagetsu is about to retire. There's been other rumblings of certain talent not being fond of the Bushiroad expansion. I don't know. Kadani's going to do what he's going to do. And quite frankly, I'll take him over Rossi at this point. But, they need to be careful with how they try to go through this transition. I do think they'll find a way to make Stardom work for what they need to do. But they need to do it in a way that's going to be smooth and peaceful. Or otherwise, it's going to be a bumpy road if it isn't already. So, just tread lightly is what I would say. Let's see. What big call event are you looking forward to? Well, I haven't been keeping up with any recent CAW. I know that DCA had Revelations, which I will hopefully get to at some point. I know UWL Salvation's out. I'll try to get to that even if I can. I know the big 110 is coming up with CCL. I know ACL had their All-Star event as well. So I'm trying. I'm trying, folks. I'm trying to get back to the thick of things. Jacob Avendana. Vince McMahon recently got sued because of the XFL. What would it mean for the WWE as a whole? Yeah, so apparently a shareholder within the WWE has sued Vince McMahon and other senior executives for potential internal conflicts between WWE stock and or money being influencing the XFL. Now, anyone should probably know that, although we may not really know, it's, we got to know more until we get to the whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is not new to doing these things whatsoever. You're talking about Vince McMahon, the man that beat the government. Back when the steroid trial back in 1992, where the WWF was busted and other superstars were on trial, speaking about their steroid usage. And somehow, some way, they were able to defeat the government, basically. But it's quite clear to me that the XFL is going to be a money loser, at least in its first year. I know they have their contracts to air with, I think, ABC, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, and all that. But at the end of the day, you have to make money in order to make a profit. And, the XFL is supposed to debut the week after the Super Bowl in February. And I have heard no promotion. There has been little to no marketing. There has been no buzz, whether it's on television or on social media. It's not a good look for them right now. And quite frankly, I think they're trying to go with the fact that, well, there's a lot of people that are mad at the NFL. Well, they launched the XFL at a time when people were protesting or boycotting the NFL. Now in 2019, back into 2020, it's not the case so much. Now people are pretty much getting back to watching football, the NFL. So the XFL, they got to push hard next month. They have no choice but to promote very hard to where you're sick of hearing the letters XFL. They only have like a month and a half left. But it doesn't matter because they're going to have to focus on the road to WrestleMania. And not only that, but the NFL is going to start getting ready for the Super Bowl, which is going to be a lot of big advertisers and a lot of big money and a lot of big profit for that event. So the XFL right now is in a bind that they ultimately put on themselves. Nobody was asking for an XFL revival. Or at least the majority wasn't asking for one. So it's up to Vince McMahon to decide if they want this XFL to be a success compared to 2001. Which I don't even think it's going to be. Because at least with the XFL back then, the WWF was hot. It was popular, it was mainstream, to where you can see why an XFL could work, even though it ultimately didn't. But now, in 2019 going to 2020, where the WWE can barely fill out arenas that they used to sell out, or that they can get any, they get like low record ratings or low record live attendances or merchandise sales are starting to decline. It's a different ballpark, and I wouldn't be surprised if Vince saw the writing on the wall and is starting to use some of that WWE money to funnel into his Alpha Entertainment as a way to try to use collusion and internal affairs to fund the XFL, because it's going to be a money loser. It's not going to be a profit in the first year. That's just how that's going to be. So, we'll see, but I have literally little to no faith that the XFL will be a success. I could be wrong, though. I was wrong about AEW, so. Kavaja Humphrey asks, Hakeem, will there be a new GM and assistant GM for Excel if Mr. Smith and SZ get fired this season? I mean, granted, Mr. Smith has a lot to answer for, and if you aren't aware, Mr. Smith will be there at the season premiere of Excel. He will be introducing a new ACW championship on Excel 99. I have no idea what that championship could be, but I have been told that he will be introducing a new championship. Also, he will be leading the coronation for the new Excel World Champion Joe Higashi after what happened at Animania 5. So that's what we know. Haru Glory will be there to explain his actions about that whole thing at Animania 5, and I would like some answers with that as well. But we don't know. It's possible, but it may not be possible. So who knows? I just know that this season's going to be a wild one. I'm pretty sure I can probably speculate to a guess that it's going to be a wild ride. New Dawn Pro, is there a place in CAW for comedy-based feds or shows like Chikara or Spring Break type shows? For example, the Rise of Crazy Stuff shows, if you know of them. Yeah, look, with CAW, variety is key, and it's always been key to me. I think, like, in any form of entertainment, variety is key. You don't want one thing every single time. It's like you choose an ice cream. You don't want to eat vanilla every single time. Maybe you want chocolate sometimes. Maybe you want Rocky Road. Maybe you want pecan butter, even though you might be a sick fucking you get pecan butter. The point of the matter is that variety is key. Nobody wants to sit there and watch high-flying matches every single time. But at the same token, people don't want to always watch these old grapple-style matches as well. And it goes with the same thing with, CAW events. There's times where you can have athletic promotions. You can have, old school promotions. You can have simulation promotions, original feds, fantasy feds. And I think stuff like comedy shows like Chikara, or, if we're going to go in CAW terms, we can go like SMF, ICCW, stuff like that. Back in those days, those were comedy feds as well, but they're still revered today as some of the funniest stuff that CAW has produced, or at least in my opinion. So, I think there's a spot for that. I think there's a spot for comedy feds. I think there's a spot for Spring Break type of feds. At the end of the day, everything evolves, and I'm not just saying that because I like Evolve, fuck Evolve, but I'm saying like everything evolves in the sense that CAW, like wrestling, changes within the time. I mean, like I may not like some of that kind of stuff, but I understand that the times are changing. It's not 1985 where we're doing all these 10-minute long grapple sessions. It's not even like 1997 where we're doing like all hardcore matches. It's a different type of era now for wrestling. for better or worse. So I think stuff like that is fine, in my opinion. Now, granted, that doesn't mean people have to like it. I just think that there's a place for them. Joseph, I don't know if you were asked this, but how did you first start your CAW experience? Pretty much basically. So I was just getting back into anime after kind of a hiatus of not watching it for a while. And I was watching that, I was watching Teen Titans, and I wanted to pretty much do a EFED of like, basically I was going to write down 20 people. I was going to write down 20 characters, whether from anime or from like comic books or from like cartoon shows. I was going to write down 20 characters and try to use that as a central part of my EFED. Basically, I was going to type up results and matches and post them on a website, and that would have been that. Because I used to do that. I used to go to wrestling forum, and there was a section called Be the Booker, and I would type up my future like EFED leagues and all that stuff. So I was like thinking, okay, why don't I do that with cartoons or stuff like that? I would just get my own website and do that. And I was all cylinders. I was gonna keep doing that. But then I was able to catch, that was when YouTube was just starting. Like, it was literally a baby website. Like, it was just starting, bare bones YouTube. And I was just searching around, and I caught a video, that was called No DQ CAW. And I saw it, and I thought it was the coolest. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, watching the likes of Mr. Clean and Sagat and Spider-Man and Mario and Luigi all wrestling under one roof in video game form with a Day of Reckoning game, and just commentated like it's a real wrestling show. And that's when my mind went from EFED to CAW. That's when, without No DQ CAW, I'm telling you this right now, ACW does not exist. Period. It doesn't exist. So yeah, I changed my mind from EFED to CAW basically at that point. And so I went to go get Day of Reckoning 2. I used my mom's camera or my dad's digital camera and used it to record. I would get like a stack of video game covers and use it as my camera stand. And I would record using the camera while I'm playing Day of Reckoning 2 with my characters on the TV. And that was back when you can get away with that kind of stuff on YouTube. Now you can't. It's just not going to happen. But a lot of people remember it. A lot of people remember that era of CAW with at least ACW. A lot of that stuff is lost now, unfortunately, because YouTube back then shut down my first channel, which was African 15. And I just still regret to this day I didn't save a lot of that video from that channel, because I would love for you guys to watch those videos again. I would love to re-upload those videos on the channel, but I just didn't have the foresight to save them. Maybe a fan that back in the day may have just downloaded them and kept it to himself and just doesn't know it. But yeah, that was my first CAW experience. Watching No DQ CAW, making it change my mind, and that's when ACW began. And the rest is, as they say, history. But good history. Let's see here. Thoughts of the final DLC for Fire Pro World being an edit part maker and move creator. So basically like a finisher and then like an edit part maker. Would that be like a body part? I mean, if that's the case, then I think it's fine. I think Fire Pro is doing a good job in appealing to its niche audience. So I enjoy it. I enjoy what Fire Pro is doing. Hit Kid, thoughts on the recent boxing fights from Wilder Fury 2 being announced to what happened with Ruiz versus Joshua 2 and any fights you want next year? We'll see Hit Kid, who's, by the way, Hit Kid's a good person. I know that Hit Kid is really getting into the commentary role of things in CAW, which I do applaud him for. He's done a good job in that respect. He's a good dude. But obviously, he's a Fury guy. I'm a Wilder guy. Truth be told, I haven't been, at least recently, I haven't been following boxing like I usually do. But Wilder Fury 2 should be interesting. I have faith that Wilder's going to win. I just think Wilder has the momentum to where he's going to be able to use it against Fury. Not to say Fury's going to like half-ass or anything, but I just think Wilder will take it. Ruiz, Joshua, I didn't get to watch it live, but yeah, you know, I mean, I can get into the whole Joshua thing, but I'm not going to do it tonight. I just don't feel like it. But you know, Ruiz was heavier. Didn't look like he was more prepared for this fight. He looked like he was kind of coasting here. So that was that. And I would like to see Spence Crawford. I would like to see that fight finally. I know Porter Spence happened this year, which was a good fight, by the way. I don't need to see Danny Garcia try to get into this whole thing and interrupt what we all want to see with Spence and Crawford. I don't need to see that with Garcia. I don't think Garcia can keep up with Spence in the way that Spence has been fighting lately. Thurman is pretty much retired to me at this point. I don't need Thurman trying to come back and make a comeback, so I don't need to see that either. But yeah, it's been a good year for boxing, quite frankly. Good year for boxing. I mean, we had McGregor Mayweather, which is this year, right? But no, it wasn't this year. It was last year. Whatever. It's been a good year, and quite frankly, the second half of the decade's been a good part of boxing anyway. So, yeah. Spooky Pie, what's your favorite style of wrestling? Example: British strong style, lucha libre, joshi. My favorite style of wrestling. Well, I mean, like, I don't want to be safe, but like, I like all spectrums of wrestling as long as it's good wrestling. But I guess if I had a preference, when I was a kid, I enjoyed lucha libre, and just because like that's what I grew up with as a kid when I had a babysitter, and we'd watch it on like Univision or Telemundo or stuff like that. I would watch lucha libre. You know, I would watch like Rey Bucanero and Ultimo Guerrero, La Parca, Cybernetico, and Juventud, Stereo, all those guys. As I grew up a little older, though, I think I like more of a hybrid of lucha and American wrestling. Like not like straight up sports entertainment, but like the more spectacle side of wrestling combined with some athletic lucha libre wrestling. I think that's kind of my preference in terms of what type of wrestling I like. Not to say I don't like puriso wrestling either, but that would be my ideal kind of wrestling, and that's kind of the way I try to implement ACW actually, with the whole spectacle of mainstream American wrestling and then the athletic aspect of lucha libre. That's kind of what I try to do, with a little bit of Japanese wrestling sprinkled in here and there. But you'll never always get a perfect way of trying to tell a certain kind of wrestling style. R.S. Williams, your thoughts on the crappy, in my opinion, Becky and Charlotte versus Asuka and Kyrie feud? I have not been following it. I could really not care less for it. I am pretty much done with Becky's title reign at this point. It's just pretty much dragging on, and I know they're trying to save it for WrestleMania, where she probably drops to a Ronda Rousey or a Shayna Baszler or whoever. It might even be Charlotte again for all I know. But I pretty much have checked out with Becky's title reign. I really don't care anymore. Becky might be popular in certain aspects with wrestling fans, but she really hasn't been someone that's moved the needle in any way possible to where she would be considered a mega star. I'm just kind of over it at this point. Charlotte, she's been kind of half-assing this year in terms of the way she's been presented, and quite frankly, the way she's been wrestling. I think it's been very clear to me that Charlotte has regressed this year in a lot of respects. Asuka and Kyrie have been doing fuck all this year until recently with this heel turn as a Kabuki Warriors team. And then I didn't watch TLC, but I did hear about that match and how Kyrie got concussed because Charlotte and her dumbass didn't know or couldn't tell that Kyrie was concussed, or that something was clearly wrong. And I liked how a lot of the WWE Jones try to defend Charlotte or try to cover for Charlotte, saying, wait, Charlotte didn't know. That should be more so to the fault of the medical staff, or it should be the fault of the guys in the gorilla position. Yeah, you might be right, but let's not act like Charlotte, who is a professional wrestler and should know the whereabouts of who could be possibly concussed, or maybe there's something wrong medically to where you have to call an audible. All she kept doing was continuing, not only slapped her, you slapped a concussed lady, but you continue to do these dangerous movesets that affect the neck and head. Okay? It was just as much of her fault as anyone else. Kudos to Becky for at least realizing, being a pro, realizing that there was something wrong with Kyrie, and tried to call an audible there. But that was bullshit, and Charlotte gets as much blame as anybody else. Yeah, I don't care for that feud. And quite frankly, I don't really care about a lot of the ladies in their current stature at that time either. So, Eclipton, should Roger Smith be required to take a polygraph test concerning some of the controversies connected to him between Animania 4 and 5? I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think, like I said, Mr. Smith has a lot of things he needs to answer for, and they need to be very precise and clear because there's a lot of people asking questions, and his information in the whereabouts of his involvement with certain things and certain people and certain events. So the new season of ACW with Excel, we will see where Mr. Smith lies in that aspect. Fluke Dog, what do you think of Trump's impeachment trial so far? I think it's a circus. I think it's just it's political theater at its finest. I don't want to get too political because Lord knows next year's an election year, and we're gonna hear as much political takes from every spectrum possible. So I'm sure once we get there, you'll hear more out of me, unfortunately. But all I'm gonna say is that nobody's winning here. There's nothing that's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm just gonna save you the trouble right now, and just leave it at that. He's probably not getting impeached. Oh, well, he is impeached, but he's probably not getting voted out of office, and that's how I'm gonna leave it. Just saying. Let's see. I'm answering all these questions. Let's see here. Some of these are repeats. UWL Voltage. Thoughts on the IC title redesign? Know you are a belt mark like myself. I am quite the belt connoisseur, if you will, in terms of design and aesthetics. The IC title, I'm fine. I don't hate it. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I don't hate it. Now, in my opinion, I think they just got rid of the redesign of the title because the person that brought back that redesign in the first place now is a vice president for their competitor. But other than that, I think for what they put out, it's one of their better titles that they've designed in recent memory. I think, honestly, if the strap was white, I wouldn't have too much of an issue with it. But it's fine. I think it's not a big deal to me. Let's see here. Also, UWO once again. Would a bi-yearly release be better than a yearly release with WWE games? Yes, I agree. I think 2K and WWE need to pump the brakes because right now their games come off like Madden. If you played one Madden game, you played them all. You pretty much know the aesthetics. You pretty much know the physics of each Madden game. It's the same way with WWE 2K. I think, honestly, to have a yearly 2K release, I know that they do it because of residuals and they do it for money and it's because it's in the contract. But quite frankly, expecting us to pay $60 to even $100 every year for a game that doesn't even answer a lot of our demands or doesn't even really have the quality that we expect is asking for a lot, even if you're a loyal fan. Honestly, if you want my honest opinion, I would have no issue skipping 2K21 next year and just have 2K19 extend all the way till October of next year. I would have no issues whatsoever with that. And I think we just need a break from it. I know you have to, but you don't necessarily have to release a 2K game every single year. Fake Ross Sapp, absolutely. Will you be watching some of Wrestle Kingdom this year? From Ray Ballstaff, and then King Trey asked, who would you think should walk out with both belts at Wrestle Kingdom 14? Well, if my job allows me, I will try to watch Wrestle Kingdom live with all of you guys. I'll probably be live tweeting or on the Discord doing something for Wrestle Kingdom, but I do plan to watch it. A little bit of a weaker Wrestle Kingdom card than last year, in my opinion, but it still looks like a strong card for all intents and purposes. In terms of who I think is walking out with both belts, I would love for it to be Naito. I know it's not going to happen. But I know also that Okada's time is probably up here as well. Now the question is, do you go with Ibushi and pull that trigger, or do you wait on that? Do you finally give some of your New Japan Western fans and even some of your fans in Japan that satisfaction and let Naito finally win 2 of those titles? Or do you disappoint us again? Or do you want to go with the heel heat route? Do you want to garner up that hatred? Do you want to make your ultimate heel for the next decade in Jay White and you give him the 2 titles? All I know is that, unless I'm wrong, and I could very well be wrong, I'm not seeing Okada walking out with both titles at Wrestle Kingdom at the end of this. I'm just not seeing it. I would love for it to be the Naito, but I just don't think New Japan trusts Naito enough to get that moment. I think the injuries and I think them cooling off on him this past year has kind of led me to believe that the Naito ship is starting to slowly fade away, which is unfortunate because they should have damn well pulled that trigger last year, and they didn't. So I'm thinking, as much as Jay White has improved in a lot of aspects as a heel and as the leader of the Bullet Club, as much as I'm sick and goddamn tired of the Bullet Club at this point, Jay White has really done some strides for that group and for himself as a heel. At the end of the day, though, I think they're going to go with Ibushi. I think they're going to give Ibushi, both the Intercontinental and the World title. I think it's going to happen at Wrestle Kingdom. Again, Ibushi signed a lifelong contract, quote-unquote, with New Japan. You've got to compensate with that somehow. You've got to make sure that contract is worthwhile in some aspects. And quite frankly, they've been on the Ibushi hype since the G1 anyway. So you might as well hitch your wagon onto Ibushi and go with both titles. So I think Ibushi's walking out with both titles. Again, it's New Japan, and it's the Wrestle Kingdom spot. So it's at the Dome, so of course Okada could very well just walk out with those titles as the ace, but I think Ibushi's going to win with both titles at the end of the night. It's going to be either Ibushi or Okada, and I hope it's Ibushi. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm just trying to answer a lot of these questions here. A lot of these are repeats, actually. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up with all this stuff. D Coker 97, have you caught up on to JoJo's Bizarre Adventures? I have not, but I need to eventually soon. I need to get back on my JoJo stuff because it's greatness. Let's see. I agree. I think the best character they have in the company is Kevin Owens. Kofi is absolutely DOA at this point after getting squashed by Brock. Yeah, pretty much, basically. Remember how people thought Kofi had, and quite frankly, although I didn't really care too much about Kofi's title reign overall, I think compared to a lot of other world champions we had this year, Kofi was probably one of the better ones. But his title reign, especially with the way they booked him after he lost the title, you wouldn't know he was a world champion this year. The way he was squashed by Brock in 7 seconds, and then they were gonna say they were gonna tease him for a heel turn because of how the way he lost the title, and then fuck it anyways. He wins the tag team titles again with Big E. The New Day are tag team champions again, and it's like they clearly just want to get the title off Kofi. They thought the experiment was pretty much done, and they got the title off him. So, but Kevin Owens, it probably is him. Although I do want to say, I don't like Kevin Owens doing the stunner. I don't mind Kevin Owens as a top face for the company, quite frankly. I really don't. But giving him the stunner as one of his finishing moves, and the way Kevin Owens does it, I just don't like. I don't like Kevin Owens stunners. It feels parody as shit. It feels very parody as shit. I mean, at least with Willie Mack, because I know he does a stunner too at times. Willie Mack puts some stank onto that stomp and stuns your neck. But just Kevin Owens, it just comes off very like parody-ish, if you get my drift. See, Bradley 2075, do you think WWE will die in the 2020s? No, I do not. I think the WWE, despite all its faults, will be alive well beyond this decade. Will it decline more? Sure. It very well could. But die completely? No. Still got a couple of years, if not decades, left. Food Dog 08. Can one of the characters of Demon Slayer be signed to ACW in the future? Never say never, and I have seen Demon Slayer. Thought it was a fun show. Thought it was a very good show. I know Funimation voted it as the best anime of the decade, which I am calling bullshit. Especially over Attack on Titan. There's no way. And look, I'm not trying to shit on Demon Slayer. I'm really not. I liked the anime this year. But over Attack on Titan, and I know Attack on Titan gets its own criticism for being too normie. I could give a fuck for those people. Attack on Titan was a phenomenal anime to me. One of the better animes of this decade. And quite frankly, to me, is the anime of the decade. Sorry. That's just me. Get fucked. Let's see. D. Coker, thoughts on AEW's women's division? Well, initially I thought it was shit. I thought, I like Riho, but then the thing with the Nyla Rose thing, I won't get into the whole thing, but, the Nyla Rose thing I had an issue with. Britt Baker, I think she wasn't ready for the position she was in so early. Yeah, and it was just not a good start for the women's division. A lot of green wrestlers there, just a lot of people that weren't ready. It's starting to now pick up, though. I will say that they signed Big Swole, the former Ariel Monroe, who was part of the Mae Young Classic last year, I believe, or 2 years ago. They signed Chris Statlander, who has really caught a lot of fire with a lot of AEW fans. Granted, she was supposed to wrestle Rhea for the title on the Homecoming edition for AEW next week. Apparently, she has a commitment to bar wrestling that she has to do, so they're making it into a fatal four with the other top contenders, and she'll get her title shot next week. Probably shouldn't have booked Chris to win the number one contenders match if he thought she had a previous booking commitment, but it's not the end of the world. Just a lot of people that don't like AEW, or a lot of people that will do everything in their power to shit on AEW because they don't like the people running it. We'll try to point that out as something that is going to end AEW, or that they're Bush League. Just shut the fuck up. You guys are so obvious with your agenda. You guys are so blatant with your agenda that it makes me sick sometimes. Just shut the fuck up. A lot of you guys aren't even wrestling fans. You're fans about everything about the industry except the wrestling. Funny how that works, you dumb fucks. But anyways, the women's division at AEW is starting to pick up pretty well. They have a long ways to go still, but I think it'll be fine overall. Let's see here. Yeah, Hakeem, I agree. Braun should have beat Brock for the Universal title. They should have. There was no excuse for Braun to not win that title. None whatsoever. Fluke Dog, Sami Callihan versus Tessa Blanchard for the Impact Wrestling World Championship at Hard to Kill. Who do you got? Look, I gotta be honest with you with this whole intergender thing that Impact is doing. I'm just kind of tired of it because, look, there's a men's division, there's a women's division. There's a world title for the man, there's a world title for the woman. Because when you start trying to integrate it with like a woman trying to fight a man for the world title, it just starts coming off as very fake. Starts coming off very just corny. And I enjoyed the first encounter Sami and Tessa had last year, or earlier this year. I didn't mind that. I really didn't mind that. They put on a good match. But now they're fighting for the world title, and you probably know that they're going to give Tessa the world title. It's just eye roll worthy. It's like, it's not the shit on Tessa, but it's Tessa's arguably the best women's wrestler here in the United States, here in the Western side of things. But when do we draw the line in certain aspects of wrestling? You know what I mean? Trust me, I'm not like Jim Cornette, okay? I'm not a Jim Cornette guy in the sense that I have to shit on everything about wrestling in the modern era. I'm not that guy, okay? But there's certain things that do need to just be kept the way they need to be kept. Because if Sami loses here, he comes off as the biggest, weakest world champion ever. For as much hype that he has gotten as a character. But then if Tessa loses here at Hard to Kill, she's already lost twice to Sami Callihan for the world title, or in some sort of fashion. And it's just going to make Tessa's stock drop now. So it's like almost a lose-lose situation here. Now I get it, Impact's got to do this because they have to get some sort of buzz heading into the next year. They have to do this. I just think this buzz is the wrong way to go about it. That's all I'm saying. Random Goofball, with Jushin Thunder Liger retiring soon, what will you remember more about his legacy? Man, we are getting close to Jushin Liger retiring from wrestling. That is, even as a grown man at 28 years old, that is something to really, really think about. What I remember most about Jushin Thunder Liger is being an innovator, bringing that kind of modern cruiserweight style to the States. You know, his matches with Brian Pillman in the States, you know, Chris Jericho, Benoit, bringing that kind of eccentric Japanese light heavyweight style to the United States, and then obviously being who he was in New Japan and in other places, All Japan or what have you. Jushin Thunder Liger, obviously a great athlete and great wrestler for his time, but also as a great innovator. He influenced a lot of people like Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera and AJ Styles. A lot of people that, you know, get a lot of praise for their high-flying arsenal should credit Jushin Thunder Liger in a lot of ways. So we're getting close. It's gonna be a weird wrestling world without Jushin Liger wrestling. But I want to just thank Jushin for all his efforts and his memories and his legacy bestowed upon me and others that have watched him throughout the years, whether an old or a new kind of wrestling fan. I want to just thank him, and hopefully he enjoys, as he should enjoy life post-wrestling. So thank you, Jushin. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Aris, hey, if you were finding CAW talent for those who were starting a league, who would you suggest? I get this question a lot. If you want to start a CAW league, first things first, you want to ask yourself, why do I want to do this league, first of all? And second of all, get a central figure of characters to where it's going to be the main basis for your league going down the road. When I started ACW, my whole thing was, you got to understand, that was during the period where Naruto was hot, Dragon Ball was still a thing, You had One Piece in there. Full Metal Alchemist. Teen Titans in a Western aspect was great. Avatar. So I just started getting characters from those shows, among other obscure people like Haru Glory from Raven Master. I was putting them together, and that's how ACW was what it was. So, just try to find a balance in terms of what you're looking for, and in terms of also what you want to accomplish. Let's see here. Quincy Brown, what do you think of Seth Rollins' heel turn? It's better than what he was before. I'll say that. I will definitely say that. It's better than most of his year this year. That's not to say that I enjoy Seth Rollins in any way after that fact. Seth Rollins just comes to me as someone that he can be one of those guys that you put as a central figure to your wrestling company, but he's just not the guy. He just doesn't have the intangibles. He just doesn't have the effect to me of being that guy. It is what it is. Yeah. But the Seth Rollins heel turn, I guess it's fine. It's just basically him being his Twitter persona, which is his real persona. I don't care what anyone says. People are going to say, oh, Seth Rollins is working everybody this whole time. No, Seth Rollins is just easily gotten to. He's just somebody that doesn't have a temperament for many things online and gets butthurt when people come at him a certain way. So that's his real persona that he's acting right now. It is what it is. Let's see. I'm almost getting done here, folks. I'm trying to ask all these questions, okay? Again, if you have any other questions that you want to ask, you can just post them on the chat and I will get to them. Let's see here. Chris Blackmon, what do you think about John Morrison coming back to WWE? Cool, I guess. And you gotta understand, John Morrison wasn't quite the biggest draw in WWE when he was there, and although he has improved greatly with his time in Lucha Underground and Impact Wrestling, him coming back, he'll get that big pop when he probably is a surprise entrant at the Royal Rumble next month. But after that, and after the Royal Rumble pop and then the WrestleMania match, what do you do after that? He just becomes another guy on the roster, and that's going to be the case. Shit, they did that with Rey Mysterio. Remember when Rey Mysterio got that big pop when he came back to WWE last year? And then that WrestleMania match, and then afterwards, he just became another guy. I don't see it changing for John Morrison here either. UWL Voltage. So the whole Natsu thing, think it will be addressed? I don't know. Did Natsu do something? I'm not sure. I've been gone for a minute, so I don't know if Natsu did anything, but I don't know. I don't know. I need more information. Let's see here. Have you played NBA 2K20 from Quincy Brown? No, I have not. My brothers do, however. They are very much into 2K20. Yeah. Jukin is very much into 2K20. That's a reference to the old school fans there, but yeah. Kenny Rodriguez, how are you? Well, thank you for asking. I'm doing pretty fine. I'm doing pretty good. I know that I was supposed to come back a bit sooner for the new season, but I got a new job and I was trying to, fixate on that. I was doing more outside projects outside of ACW, in my real life stuff. So I was doing that and just trying to balance a couple of things. So, yeah. But I'm doing fine now. So, obviously, I'm starting to make my comeback here with the new season. And I'm just going to try to balance it between my real life stuff and what I do here. So, hopefully, it works well. And hopefully, you guys are entertained with the new season. Bloods 5.031. What are your thoughts on Laura Sullivan? I'm going to assume you said Laura Sullivan. But what are your thoughts on Laura Sullivan being in a gay porno? Yeah, so this is pretty much kind of breaking news today, but apparently Lars Sullivan there was, I guess, on Reddit and 4chan, there was some footage discovered of someone who looks like an early version of Lars Sullivan getting involved in a certain type of gay porn, I guess is the best way to say it. Doing things, and I'll leave it at that. Which is funny to me because this is the same dude that was apparently found out on, bodybuilding forums saying a lot of homophobic and racist shit, and now here I am finding out he was doing gay porn. I literally laughed my ass off when I saw that, but we don't really know if he's real or not. We haven't really confirmed that that's really Lars, although people have been connecting the dots here and there that it could be him. I'm sure more will come out of it, and don't mean it that way, but I'm sure many things will be brought up as that develops. So, and I will leave it at that because it's literally breaking news. We really don't know anything other than that. So, but I do. If it is him, I find it hilarious. All right, random goofball. Since signing Soma Yukihara, have you tried any of his cooking? Yeah, I have. Soma Yukihara, they call him the young chef. And not just because he's a young dude, but he really can cook some of the best food you'll ever eat. So, once in a while I ask Soma, like, hey, anything you're cooking? And Soma will give me one of his special dishes of the week or whatever. And it's funny because, I'll eat it, and then somehow I don't have any clothes on. It's weird. It's a weird sensation. I don't understand it. I'll eat it, and then it's so good that I have no clothes on. I don't understand it. I guess I gotta wear tighter belts. Jacob Avendana, sorry about that. Do you believe that the reason why WWE refused to build stars because of the fact that they tend to leave WWE to pursue bigger things like The Rock or Brock Lesnar? I definitely think that has a lot to do with that. I definitely think there are certain things that have a lot to do with that. Everyone knows the way The Rock left. Once he got too big for the WWE, he started going to Hollywood, and now he's arguably the biggest box office star in Hollywood. Brock Lesnar, tried his hand in NFL and UFC before coming back. So, I don't know. That is a part of it because at the end of the day, the WWE wants to create a bigger brand. They want the WWE brand to be bigger than any one superstar. It used to be the other way around. Every era up till Cena had a star or two or multiple stars to where they were big time megastars, and they would be the ones to help the company move forward and draw them a lot of money. Now they rely on the brand itself, the legacy of the WWE, to be the draw rather than an individual. And as you can see, when the product sucks or when it's mediocre at best, the brand suffers, and then drawing said brand suffers. That's why you're supposed to have a multitude of megastars for this to happen. Because even if the product was bad, you still had like a Stone Cold or The Rock or Hulk Hogan or Macho Man or John Cena and Batista be those big time stars to carry your brand. So that way, whatever they were doing, they were entertained. They would still keep the audience watching every week. You don't have that anymore. You just don't. So that's why, as foolish as it is, the WWE is going to continue to make the brand the draw more so than the individual. It's unfortunate. Let's see. AD Gonzalez, any animes you're currently watching? None I'm watching at the moment because I've just been busy. I know that My Hero Academia just came out. I need to follow up on that. Seven Deadly Sins dropped too, although I've heard mixed reviews on that. I know Vinland Saga's out there. I know my sister and brother have recommended me on Vinland Saga and Dr. Stone and stuff like that. I need to watch those as soon as I can. JoJo I need to catch up on, especially because next year is going to be a whole new season for more anime. I know ReZero's coming out this year. I'm fucking excited for season 2 of ReZero. I loved season 1. One of my favorite animes of the decade period. So I'm looking forward to season 2. I know Yuri on Ice is probably going to come back next year too. Another good anime. But yeah, I'm looking to catch up on my anime once everything is settled. Let's see. Chris Blackman, is anyone from the Promised Neverland going to be on ACW in the future? Never say never. Promised Neverland is another anime that I watched and enjoyed a lot. So you never know. It might be a little difficult because most of them are kids, but we'll never say never is what I would tell you. You guys should know that by now with ACW. Wild Thing 93, any plans for New Year's? I usually watch the ball drop on ABC. I probably will be downtown. I'll probably myself be like, at my local bar here. I kind of probably going to do some karaoke hosting at my local bar. Get that all, settled and on all that good stuff. And, ring in the new year. So looking forward to it, though. Very much looking forward to it. New year, new decade. See how that goes, right? Quincy Brown, have you seen Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker? No, I haven't. I think I said this before that I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars. I just never, kind of like Star Trek. It's like those kind of fandoms. I get why they exist. I understand a lot of people enjoy them. I know a lot of people have their legacies when it comes to that, but I was just never one of those guys. I just never was one of those guys. So I haven't seen it. But I have seen the reviews and reactions about it. And boy, oh boy, it certainly has been mixed. Spooky Pie, have you ever thought about being a booker for wrestling besides ACW? Yeah, I have always thought about that. It's just like how people think about, well, have you ever thought about being a wrestler when you grow up? Which I have done. But a booker, I've thought about that. Like booking for, like actual independent shows locally here, or even booking certain CAW leagues. I've thought about that here and there. I've just been so focused on ACW. Like, the way I book with ACW, I'm so focused and I'm so delicate about the little details that I put in there that a lot of people miss every season, by the way. Even this past season, people miss certain details that will be interesting going forward. But stuff like that I do, I am a big advocate. I appreciate storytelling a lot. So I work on storytelling very precise and very exquisitely. And then, the matches, which are the blowouts, 2-set stories, they come in later. So, it's just finding the balance between those two. That's usually my philosophy when it comes to booking, I guess. Wild Thing 93, any confirmations for the speculation of the Cruiserweight Clash finale maybe being the genesis of Roger Smith's newly established XL Championship belts? I do not know. I don't know that for sure, quite frankly. All I know is that Mr. Smith is going to be introducing, a new championship title. What that entails, what that means, what is it in general, I have no idea. We're just all going to have to find out next season on the season premiere of Excel. And for those joining in, the Cruiserweight Clash, the Elite Tournament of 2019, we will finally finish that within a week and a half from tonight. Finally get that shit done so we can finally move forward with the new season. So I know a lot of guys have been waiting on that whole tournament, so trust me, I just need to do some commentary on these matches, and we will start releasing that kind of stuff fairly shortly. Aries Williams, off topic, your thoughts on cats? Now, I probably think you're meaning the move that came out, but I want to assume that you want to mean the animals in general. I can't stand cats. I'm a dog person, for sure. I think cats are dicks, quite frankly. and I've had cats before. They're just so clingy and needy. It's like like with dogs, like they know when you're mad, they know when you're happy, they know when you're sad, they know when you want to be left alone, they know when you want to be you know um, you know accompanied and what have you. But cats, they don't give a shit. They do whatever they want. I do whatever I want. They do whatever they want. So I don't know. And as for the movie, I mean, I didn't go see it. I'm not gonna watch it. But from the animations that I saw, it looked shit. So I gotta assume the movie in general was shit. Go figure. You try to do a remake of a play that was back in the 90s and 2000s that pretty much a lot of people wouldn't know now today, and it sucked. Go figure. Chris Blackmon. Will there be an IC championship belt in the women's division? I'm gonna assume you mean like a secondary title for the women's division. Never say never. Hell, for all I know, that could be the new title that Roger Smith's putting out soon. But I don't know. I doubt it. Probably. I pretty much doubt it. Blood 5.031. What are your thoughts on Stardom tag match at Wrestle Kingdom? I believe the tag match is what? I think it's Mayu. Mayu and Tam versus Hana and Gila. Gilia? Is that what the tag match is? I could be wrong, but it's a dark match, so it's just gonna introduce the New Japan audience, I guess, to Stardom. It's Bushiroad's way to introduce Stardom to a more wider audience. So I guess I really have no strong opinion on it. I guess it is what it is. Hakeem, don't forget Cena. He's in Hollywood right now too. Yeah, I know. Cena is doing the Hollywood thing, which is funny to me because Cena was always the guy saying I'm gonna be in the WWE forever. When The Rock went to Hollywood, he betrayed his fans and yada yada yada. His real life that he had with The Rock about leaving the fans and leaving the wrestling business and going to do movies and not caring about the fans. Well, look what the fuck he's doing now. It's just more proof to tell you guys that all these wrestlers are workers. These wrestlers, by and large, don't really care about you all that much. Yeah, you might get a retweet here, you might get a mention there, and all that. But unless you're kissing their ass or buying their merch or what have you, they really don't give a shit about you. I've seen it personally firsthand. These people are workers. They're workers first before they are wrestlers. Always remember that. It goes the same when people tell you about never meeting your heroes in person when you want to meet your celebrities or your famous superstars or what have you. It goes for wrestlers too. At the end of the day, these wrestlers are the ones that are here to make money. This is a business. So when you're, trying to talk to them on Twitter or you're trying to kiss their ass and trying to do that for the sake of a mention or a retweet, understand that they're working you. They're always working you. That's their job. They're professionals. They get paid to do that. Don't ever think these people are your true friends. There might be a few people here and there, as a rare exception, to be your friend in certain ways that might be good people. But by and large, for the majority of these wrestlers, they don't give a shit about you. Most of these people aren't good people. They're kind of scummy. Most of them are kind of scummy in their own way. That's the reality of it. All right, let's see. UWL, any storylines you had plans on doing last season but dropped due to time or other reasons? Of course, I've had storylines that I've dropped that I wanted to do that I just clearly didn't have time to do. I don't know if I want to reveal it yet because that would imply that next season's gonna be next season. But I'll just say yes. I'll just say yes. Two-Tone Dearly Hakeem, would this be a dream match? Broly versus Alt Might. Sure. That would actually be an interesting fight, actually. Quite frankly. Random goofball. If ACW and DCA did a collaboration on a cross promotion, what do you think of Zack Stone versus Hard Glory being a feature match? No titles on the line, just a match between two of the top guys of their leagues. I mean, I think that would be an interesting fight. You know, having two cornerstones of their respective leagues going at it. It's usually a fun thing to do when you are doing some sort of cross promotion for another league. So, again, never say never. Quincy Brown, what are your thoughts on the R. Kelly allegations? Yeah, I know they're going to do a part 2 of the whole Surviving R. Kelly, which is eye-roll worthy, because it's like, yeah, R. Kelly is scummy in his own way as the person, but these parents that were having their kids be with R. Kelly, they sold them off to him. And now they want to take back that money because now that R. Kelly might get busted, they don't want to look to be the certain sycophants that they were. It's just a lot of bullshit. I'm not trying to excuse R. Kelly for what he did, but a lot of these parents and a lot of these moguls that knew about his whereabouts and all that he did are just as guilty. Let's see here. Eris Williams, forgive me, this is sounding greedy, but is there anyone would you like me to do before 2K19 goes down? I don't really have any requests. If you feel like you have a superstar you would like to do for me, then that's all more than good. That is all well than good, in my opinion. So, I have reached the end of the questions and answer section. So, there you go. I answered all the questions, did it as quick as I could, and here we are. So, I want to thank everybody for joining me for the Q&A portion of the newscast, and I want to thank everyone for joining me for this newscast, the final newscast of 2019. So I will see you for the new newscast next month probably, if you want to be honest. But I want to thank everybody for joining me. I want to thank everybody that supported me throughout this entire decade. I want to thank everybody that supported me last season and the previous seasons prior. I just want to thank everyone that's been fans of ACW, old and new, this entire decade. I've always said that the fandom, without them, ACW wouldn't have gone on this long, trust me. But you guys are the best fans. You guys are, quite frankly, the best fan base that I could have. And I appreciate you guys each and every single time doing your way to support ACW as I try to do new things here and there with ACW going forward. Once again, if you would like to donate to the newscast, it's streamlabs.com/theanimecw. That's streamlabs.com/theanimecw. It's below the link right there. If you just want to make a donation, that would be more than appreciative. I would really appreciate it. Or later down the road, we have the super chats on the chat room. I will be enabling those for future newscasts, so that way you can give me super chats through YouTube. So I'll be doing that. So that'll be the end of the newscast. But before I go, I did say I had a little bit of a surprise for all of you, so I will go ahead and play that little surprise right now. But once again, thank you everybody once again for joining me for this newscast. I will see you guys next year for a new season of Anime Championship Wrestling. We will be right back on the roller coaster of fun. Trust me, it'll be another fun season of ACW, and hopefully we enjoy the ride together. So, with that being said, I will see you guys next year, next month. Until then, stay cool. Stay cool.